Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to a very exciting episode of Guapish, Rule 34. As always, I'm your host, Nico, and we come here for lots of laughs and just casual conversation, but a very important part of the podcast that often goes overlooked is that we also like to learn. So Tanner, my first guest of today, would you like to give the people a nice fun fact?
Guys, fun fact, you can't live on the sun.
Truly enlightening, the more you know. Jackson, would you also like to supply people with a fun fact?
Yeah, you can right-click your currency display in Final Fantasy XIV, and you can cycle through different currencies you want to see.
Oh, as expected of our economics expert. Dylan, what's your little fun fact for us today?
You've never truly touched anything in your entire life.
Bro believes in Gojo.
It's not even what it is.
Truly fascinating stuff. And some other fascinating stuff that's been going on recently. Now, Tanner, I'm sure, is very aware of this. Jackson maybe is. I highly doubt Dylan knows much about this. But are you guys familiar with the biggest flop recently in gaming, Concord, that just released recently?
Oh, yeah.
I think I saw somebody post a video on it. I didn't know it flopped, though, so let's hear about it.
Oh, yeah. It flopped big time. Just so you guys can kind of understand how massive of a loss this is for Sony, this shit bombed harder than Redfall, Anthem, Babylon's Fall, as well as like fucking Gollum, okay?
Jesus Christ.
At a lower player count than that shit.
Oh my god.
Very
And this
funny.
is like a live service game. They're planning on having, lots of players over an extended period of time. Insane.
Yeesh.
Yeah, so I have a funny feeling it's not going to be sticking around for very long.
Man, Sony's just taken L after L this last year, dude. This sucks.
It's a little rough.
Is there a way we can check the current player count on Concord?
It should just be on Steam, right? I mean, obviously we won't have, the PlayStation player count, but I guess we can just, assume it's double whatever Steam is, maybe.
Probably. We can estimate based on the numbers we see.
Hold on, okay, let's see. There are currently 119 players playing
Yikes.
Concord.
They're having a fucking blast.
Yeah, I'm sure they're loving it.
Is it a free-to-play game as well?
No, it's not free to play, Dylan. That's one of the many reasons it did not do very well. Now, I guess we should just get this part of the way here real quick, because I'm sure this is the part that Tanner's the most interested in. There is, in fact, a lot of culture war shit going on with this game. So, Tanner, would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
Honestly, dude, I don't think there really is that much culture war shit with this one. It just kind of seems like a very unremarkable game at too high a price. They have, fat, people of color, trans, lesbian characters or whatever, and all of the characters have pronouns or whatever.
Oh.
Personally, I haven't seen people even talk about that much, and it might be because it's failing so hard that you don't even need to mention that stuff, because there's so much to talk about otherwise why it failed. What else has this developer done?
I think this is their first game. As far as this actual studio or whatever the fuck is, but this game does have developers. The biggest ones that they talk about a lot are from Bungie, people who worked on Destiny, which I think shows a lot in the final product, because it does very much so when you're looking at the gameplay, it definitely looks a lot like Destiny 2's multiplayer.
Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, there's definitely a bit of identity politics stuff going on. The designs are very obnoxious generally and not very pretty off-putting. I think that the best way of summing it up that I've heard from someone is that the characters look like NPCs you'd run into the first hand of some scrapped sci-fi game.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of them look remarkable at all.
According to this post on Steam from a day ago, they've sold 25,000 copies so far.
Okay. Not bad.
According to the developers, this game took 8 years to make.
Yeah, they started making this as soon as Overwatch came out.
Oh my gosh. They're a little late to the party, for one
I'd
thing.
be shocked, because Overwatch 2 was out before this. I'd be shocked if that was 8 years of active development time. That would be a little hard to swallow, but...
Yeah, maybe it's I mean, at that point, what would it be? They just forgot about it? How does that work?
I don't know. They spent a long time drawing up concept art.
I
It all sucked, apparently.
I just. It's
Yeah, like all of their time
whole-
went into making their big fancy like cutscenes that they have with the characters bantering with each other.
Yeah. It's also funny because, like, just a couple months ago, we had Helldivers 2 come out, also a PlayStation game, and that was, like, a big success, you know?
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah, dude. Oh, my God.
A massive, roaring success, and, like, people weren't really expecting it to be a big success, because it's just like, oh, we're making, like, a third-person shooter version of this top-down, like, twin-stick game from years ago, and we were like, what? And then it comes out, and people fucking jump on its dick real hard, and then this comes out, and it's like, uh-oh. I'm hearing from people that are like, guys, it's not that bad. It's just, yeah, they're charging too much, and the art sucks, but, like, the gameplay itself is fine, but I don't know if those people are fucking coping.
Yeah, so like, you know, the game is a hero shooter and it has like a bunch of classes like, you know, support and characters that like require a bunch of setup or whatever. But, like, the game doesn't really seem to be built around that, really. Like, the main game modes that it's all like being balanced around and stuff like that seem to be like kill confirm and shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
Where, like, those classes don't really make much sense, especially since they have, like, random respawns and shit like that, so you can't really, like, you know, easily find your teammates or anything like that, as well as, like, the characters seem to have very sluggish movement, and if you don't have a movement ability, you're kind of just fucked trying to run around and find people.
Wait, do all of the game modes have random spawning?
I think there's one that doesn't, which is, like, their ranked mode, that's, like, capture the point or something like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's, like, not a thing you do in hero shooters.
Yeah,
What?
exactly.
I mean, I don't even know if I can... I don't know what I'm gonna sit here and try to judge it, but, like, $40 for a game in today's age isn't... But then again, you got all these other, like, hero arena shooters that are free. Like, I think...
Exactly,
Marvel,
exactly.
I think they just made a Marvel one, didn't they? Isn't that
Yes.
one free?
Yeah, this game released into an already oversaturated market with a price tag among better free alternatives.
Yeah, okay. Never
Like,
mind, I can't.
Overwatch is also free, by the way.
I was about to say, I think Overwatch is free now on top of that, so... Sorry, I shouldn't have laughed that hard.
Yeah, I just showed Dylan one of the characters from the game, a character called Boz.
Yeah,
And
that
it's
is one of the most hated characters that I keep seeing.
What the fuck is that?
These characters look... To give the culture war people, you know, a bit of a bone, maybe, is these characters are so, like, I don't know, absurd, I guess. They look like a parody of what, you know, a woke game would make their characters look like. Like, that's how wild this shit is. Like, look at this one.
That's why I don't think that kind of stuff needs to be included in games and movies, but that's a person. Oh my god.
Dude, is that Ned from Spider-Man?
Yes. Oh my
Bro,
god,
it's
what
huge.
am I looking at?
Or, like, I think this is another one people are pointing at, because it's like, it's this big woman in big armor, but she's wearing, like, purple lipstick.
I get the idea where they feel like oh, this character is me, like, it represents me. I don't think really anybody's
I don't want
thinking
a
of
character
that.
to represent me if they look like that.
But, like, I was about to say, at the same time, in any of the games I've played, I don't care if my character represents me. I just make the character. I mean, I guess I'm thinking about, like making your own character. But, like, 90% of the time in gaming history, the character is not going to look like you, obviously. So why are you trying to make characters that are... Like, why are you
These
trying
don't
to...
look like real people.
Yeah, exactly. So what's with the inclusivity thing that they're going for? Like, this... fuck, who does this guy remind me of? The Moth Boy from fucking Apex. What's his name, Nico?
Seer?
That's
Yeah,
literally
fucking-
just because of the hat.
I don't... well, he's all...
And also he's black. Which, by the way, Apex Legends is a game that does, like, an inclusive cast very well, I think.
But, like, I feel like they're much less... I feel like it's much less obvious than this, by, like, a margin, if I was to say.
I mean, Seer, for example, is, like, a very much so gay guy who has, like,
Yeah,
a big
but,
old
like-
heart on his chest, but he's still cool. I still like him.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, it's actually, like, he's still a decently designed character, and, like, you know, he's
Exactly,
he's
and
fine.
that's something that these designers, I guess, maybe didn't really consider very much. Like, hey, maybe we should make the characters look good.
Yeah,
the thing to me is I think the biggest thing for me actually is how atrocious the colors are.
Yes, the colors are pretty awful. Like, they're going for like the sort of like retro futuristic look.
Yeah.
But like so many of the fucking characters in this game just have like beige all over them. It's like, well, why? That's like one of the most unattractive colors possible.
Well, yeah, and most of the time when you're playing a shooter game, you want to be less luminescent and less, like, with these colors, I'm speaking purely from a competitive standpoint. If I'm going to play a competitive game, I don't want a bright-ass red or a bright-ass blue on my character where people can pick me out easily. Like, that's just terrible. But, again, competitive standpoint.
I mean, if it's like the style of the game and like everyone looks like that, I think it's fine to use like those brighter colors or whatever, as long as like, you know, the environments and stuff also complement it.
I guess.
Which, you know, from like a technical aspect, these character models and like the fucking like environments and stuff like that are impressive, but the actual designs themselves and everything aren't very good.
The idea was there, the execution was not.
Yeah, I really think like the biggest problem with this game though is that just it doesn't seem very inspired at all. Like nothing it's doing is any different from all the other hero shooters out there.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem like there's a very clear vision for what this game was supposed to be, other than just like another potential live service cash cow for Sony.
Mm-hmm. They shut down the fucking Last of Us multiplayer, but published this bullshit.
Last of Us had a multiplayer?
Yeah, and people really liked it.
Yeah, people loved the first game's multiplayer mode, and they were making one for the new Last of Us, and it was even going to be its own standalone thing, and then they fucking shut it down for some reason.
No. Now, with all this information out there, guys, if you had to guess, what did IGN's rate this game?
9 out of 10.
I'm gonna
I'd
say
say
7.
Right on the money, boys. 7 out of 10, except for you, Jackson. Nice try.
Fucking crazy. I remember this conversation a handful of weeks ago where it's like, yeah, for some reason it just seems like 7 is the magic number whenever like game critics have to rate a game.
Yeah, if it's like especially like something from like a big fancy place like Sony or whatever, of course they're not giving anything lower than a 7. Are you kidding? They're hacks.
Well, but like on top of that too, with this game trying to be so inclusive with their characters, I'm sure that they don't want to get flamed for whatever they might get flamed for by like, oh, you don't like this game because of the characters? Oh, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, I'm sure it's like a combination of that as well as like, well, it looks very nice. Like, look at the game. It looks so pretty. The visual fidelity is just so amazing. Of course it's good. Good graphics equals good game. Also, it's just some multiplayer hero shooter that I don't actually, like, you know, have to put any more than like an hour into. That's good on my book. Okay, ship it to the presses.
Yeah.
Gaming journalists are hacks, by the way. Just keep that in mind for future reference.
Yeah, I got that a couple weeks ago.
I am on the Concord Reddit page right now, seeing what the fans are saying.
Yeah.
Someone has posted a screenshot where they have been in a matchmaking queue for 5 minutes with the title Free to Play or PlayStation Plus in September.
Ooh.
I'm curious as to whether or not, like, I'm sure this game will eventually go on PlayStation Plus or whatever. I'm curious as to whether or not they're gonna, like, reimburse the people who bought it.
Why would they do that?
I don't
Fair.
think they're going to. I can't recall the last time people bought a game in the game, like, unless it was like, I think, did Cyberpunk do that where they reimbursed the people who bought it? I can't remember.
Yeah, they did.
Okay. I mean, in those cases, like, 'cause
I think
Cyberpunk,
except through Sony, though, by the way. So...
yeah. I don't think it's gonna happen.
yeah,
It's
probably
very
not.
rare.
Meanwhile, they're criticizing shit like Black Myth Wukong or whatever. Fuck you.
I actually haven't seen... I saw something about that the other day. I don't know anything about that game. I'm gonna pose a guess and be completely wrong. Is it like a Souls-like game?
A little bit. That's like the thing that most people are kind of like referencing it being like, but it doesn't really seem to be like that close to it outside of like a few mechanics.
Okay.
But yeah, for the most part, it's just like a sort of like action RPG. I think like the closest thing people liken it to is like the new God of Wars.
Okay. Well, that was a popular game genre for the most part, I would say. So can't go wrong with that, I guess.
Exactly. I can't wait to eventually play it for myself. I'm sure it'll be sweet as hell.
Is it not a PlayStation exclusive?
Black Myth Wukong, no.
Oh, okay. I thought you made it sound like it was a Sony release. So I was just...
No.
Well, unfortunate.
That's very fortunate. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know why I said that. I totally let my brain go on autopilot there. I apologize. Okay. Tanner, you look like you're researching something pretty heavily there. What are you finding, my guy?
I'm just, having a fun time looking through the Concord Reddit page here.
Oh, gotcha.
What's interesting is it is mostly like normal sorts of posts you expect to find on like a game thing. It's like, memes or like, dude, I fucking hate this character or whatever. But like with the knowledge that it has 0 players, it's so interesting to see. It's also a lot of posts where like, going free to play, right? Are they going to pay us back?
It's the question on everyone's mind.
What I find really interesting, and this is kind of unrelated to the game, it's about Reddit, is what I'm seeing here on the side is apparently Reddit now tells you, like, in what percentage size subreddits are, Mm-hmm. And so with 4.2k members of the Concord Discord, that puts it in the top 11% of subreddits.
What? It seems so low, though. I mean, I don't know anything about Reddit, so I guess I have no room to talk, but for some reason
I'm sure they're just like a whole lot of shit everywhere.
Evidently that just means there is tens upon tens of thousands of subreddits that have like 0 members.
I mean, yeah, anybody can just make a subreddit. Yeah. There's probably millions that have 0 people in them.
Yeah, it's like some stat about Twitch I heard, where it's like if you have 10 viewers in your stream, you're in like the top 1% of Twitch streamers.
Oh, yikes, dude.
Yeah.
What is that for YouTube? Like, if you get X average viewers, how many do you need to be in, like, the top 10% of YouTube?
I feel like that number is a
5 million.
Right.
I don't know about that one. That seems a little bit of a stretch.
I don't even know how it would search for that.
Yeah, I don't know how either.
How?
Is that
that's all I had for Concord.
Yeah, I guess. That's funny. Let's do my little thing here.
We hopping on a segue here, Tanner?
Sure.
Hot damn. Climb aboard, dude. Where are you taking us?
Speaking of massive embarrassments.
Oh, boy.
I want to ask you guys what your earliest memory of feeling embarrassed is. And I'll go ahead and start with the memory that came to me while I was at work and prompted me to make this
Hang on, I'll go ahead and start with, if you want to hear my most embarrassing early memory, then subscribe to our Patreon, where not only will you be able to request movies during our Guapish with the Movie section, as well as early episodes, but you'll also be able to hear the pre-Guap, where I reveal my story.
Mm-hmm.
Only $1 a month!
It may or may not have something to do with being caught masturbating at school, guys.
What? Okay. I thought you meant for you, and I was like,
No.
Yikes.
So my earliest memory, are you guys familiar with the acronym XYZ?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. When I was in 3rd grade, I wasn't familiar with this acronym, so I show up to school with my fly down. Mm-hmm. And someone walks up to me and they go, "Hey, Tanner, XYZ." And I imagine I probably went like, okay. And then I kept going through my day. This happens all day with various students and teachers walking up to me saying XYZ, me being confused, and then them walking away without telling me what the fuck is going on. Finally, at like the very end of the day, I have like one of my teachers walk up to me and they're like, "Hey, Tanner, XYZ." And I just go, "Why does everyone keep saying that to me?" And then they go, "Examine your zipper." And then I go, "Huh?" They're like, "Your fly is down." And then I realize what's going on, and I am horrifically embarrassed because I just spent the entire school day with my fly down.
Oh, that's awful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really trying to solidify which is like my earliest memory of being embarrassed. Jackson,
then
do you
just share them all.
I don't want to share all of them. Jackson, do you have one ready to go, Jackson?
I mean, yeah, but I don't particularly want to be talking about these. I guess in elementary school, I called my teacher mom at some point, and I was very embarrassed.
There you go.
Classic.
That works. Both of mine, this is why I can't, like, remember. Both of mine, like, involve my siblings. The earlier one was, like, my mom would have me and my sister shower at the same time. I don't know why.
What age was this?
Like 6 and, like, I was like 8 and she was like 5 or whatever. We were
That is too old.
really young. Listen, yeah, and I think at some point, because like, no, I'm not gonna go into more detail than that.
Oh,
but
no.
like, I eventually
you might want to go into more detail because the details our minds are making up are so much worse than what it actually
it's a
could
detail
be.
that was unimportant to the story.
Okay.
But I just remember at some point
She made us like kiss and stuff like that. I thought it was kind of weird at the time, but
anyway, I want to move on before you fuck me up. I think I hit like, it was like I was like 9 or 10, and like I like gave like all this stuff, like I was telling my mom all these things. I was like, listen, I'm just too old to be like showering with
you're still doing it that age?
I don't remember, dude. I'm bad with time. Just know that I got to a point where it's like, I don't want to do this anymore. The only other
15.
No. The only other one I can remember is like my mom had like asked me to help my little brother like learn how to go to the bathroom, like pee in the toilet standing up, and I like absolutely refused. And she's like, well, how else is he supposed to learn? I'm like, I don't know, he'll figure it out. And she's like, well, he'll figure it out faster if you show him. I'm like, I'm not gonna, because like, mind you, I was like 14, 15 or something at the time. I was like a teenager. And I was like, Mom, this is embarrassing. I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want him to watch me.
That is a rough age to ask you to do that.
Yeah, so that's like, those are like the two I can remember. If there are any other ones, I think the showering one's probably the like earliest memory. But yeah, I just, there we go.
That's rough, dude.
In the same context of like your earliest like embarrassing memory, have you guys ever like had a dream that was either so vivid or like way too close to home that it like fucked you up when you woke up, like you just were in a funk after you woke up?
Oh yeah, I've had dreams of like me perishing
Yeah.
horribly, and it was so real that I like woke up and started crying because I thought I had died.
Jesus.
Shockingly for me, I've had like a few dreams in the past where it's like some apocalyptic event is happening, like the moon is exploding and the debris is falling down onto the earth, or like I see a nuclear bomb going off like somewhere like in the horizon or whatever. And weirdly enough, I'm very like accepting of it. I'm like, well, there's nothing else I can do. I guess I'm dying.
Oh.
But I don't know if you guys are familiar with the lamp dream story. But I've definitely had a dream akin to that. So basically it's like I had a dream that like, oh, okay, it's like fucking 10 years in the future or whatever. And like I have like a wife and kids or whatever the fuck. And it's like, oh yeah, this is like great. This is just like my normal life. And then like, it all feels very real. And I suddenly wake up and it's like, what the fuck? This isn't my life. What's happening?
Oh man.
And it like takes me a moment to remember what my real life is.
Jesus.
And I have to come to terms with the fact that, oh, all that shit wasn't real.
All right.
Oddly enough, I've been exposed to like some like theory where it's like, yeah, whenever you're dreaming, some people like believe it's like you peering into like some parallel or alternate like dimension or universe or whatever, where it's like still you, but it's like projecting your mind, like your dreams are what your other you is seeing or something crazy like that. So that, I mean, if that was the case, that would check out, but who really knows?
I've had dreams where like my entire family dies and then I wake up and start crying like joyfully because I'm so glad my family isn't actually dead.
Okay.
Like, damn, that's fucked up, dude.
You set that sentence up way too... Oh man, what about you, Jackson? You seem like a pretty crazy guy.
Dude, I can't think of anything.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Jackson has a pretty rough memory. He does tell me decently frequently, like, yeah, I had like a really crazy dream. Unfortunately, I haven't been like taking my whole dream journal thing very seriously, so I'm gonna forget. But just know it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, the idea that spurred this topic on was like a couple of weeks ago. The dream I had involved the person I was previously in a relationship with. And, like, it was so fucking weird because it was, like, I don't even remember what was going on, but we were, like, sitting next to each other. I had, like, my friends with me. And, like, because, like, I haven't seen this person, like, in person for, like, years now. It's, like, weird. But anyway. So, I was, like, really getting into it. Like, I was, like, oh, yeah, like, I was, like, going over things. It's, like, and we were kind of arguing. And then, like, at some point before we could come to, like, a resolution and before I could get resolved to everything that had happened, she fucking died. And I remember waking up and, like, realizing this is probably actually one of those repressed memory moments. So here's a little add-on to your little thing from earlier, Tanner. I, like, woke up and realized I still had no resolve to that situation, and right as I was gonna get answers to what had actually happened, it's, like, all just gone, and it reminded me, and I was just, like, I was literally depressed for, like, half of the day that day. It was really rough. I had to go to work and shit. It was bad, but it was just, like, I don't know, like, vivid shit sucks, dude. I hate that shit so much.
Dylan, have you ever considered getting really into lucid dreaming?
I've tried. My mind's a little too busy to really go for it. I've tried on many occasions. I think it'd be pretty sweet, but
yeah, it doesn't shock me. You definitely seem like that's the sort of thing you'd want to do.
Yeah, my brain's a little too active to really, because it's like a big part of it's like clearing your mind, and like I've heard a lot of things. It's like, yeah, remember the exact contents of your room because that's where it all starts, and I just can't do that because I'm always thinking of other things.
And there's also just so much stuff in your room.
Yeah, also that, but you know, c'est la vie, I suppose.
All right, so Dylan, this is something that, just a segue here real quick, Dylan, this is something that we've all been kind of terrified of.
I feel like I know.
You posted as like a topic you wanted to bring up here. What did you mean by body destruction exactly?
I kind of use that as like a generalistic term to like people who constantly complain about like their health or like these issues that they have, and there's very clearly an easy solution to like fixing it, but yeah, no, they just want to keep it that way, and they don't want to fix it because they just want something to complain about. Because like nowadays it just feels like the contest between people isn't how well they're doing. The contest between people is how poorly their body feels, how poorly their mental state is, and just how poorly in life they're doing in general, which is like a really bad way to live your life. So it's just like I like, there's like these people that are complaining about like how they have like no energy, or like their joints are bad, or like whatever, they're like sore all the time. And like legitimately a way to solve some of these issues, ironically enough, is to go to like the gym and maybe not consume as many energy drinks and drink more water, and not telling people that water tastes bad because water is tasteless and that makes no sense. But yeah, just like not finding creative, like constructive ways to solve problems, and instead living in your own detriment to like, you know, continue spiraling down in the poor health condition that you're in, and it just really bothers me.
Rot maxing, you mean? You're talking about rot maxing right now?
I was gonna say he's just talking about rot maxing, dude.
I guess so, dude. That shit's it actually legitimately annoys me because everybody has like the power to like not be the way that they are. And I get like change is something people don't like to do, but literally if people want to continue to just complain about how poor their conditions are, then good on them. I guess they could deal with it. I just don't want to hear you complain about it at the end of the day.
When are we gonna start our own Guapish like self-help book, or like a conference or something like that?
Maybe when we're all mentally stable.
Right now.
You don't need to be mentally stable to do one of those, Dylan.
I feel like it helps a little bit, you know.
I doubt it. I think that most of those people are very unstable.
You know, in the same vein, I'm just going to keep running veins off this, and this is a great way for me to knock off topics. What kind of mental illnesses do you think each of us, like, let's not choose our own. Let's pick for other people, because I feel like it...
bullying, but...
It's not bullying. I feel like it's realistic. It's
not bullying as long as we don't all single out the same person.
Do you want to choose... Do you want to? We can like choose our own mental illnesses and see if everybody else agrees.
I just don't really like the like the concept of us pointing at each other and being like, I bet you got this kind of mental illness, you know.
You don't think
I think you're autistic.
Is that a mental illness?
Did you just ask if autism's a mental illness?
I don't consider it an illness.
What do you consider it?
The woke Scott to Dylan.
I consider it a mental handicap.
That's the same thing.
It's not the same thing. If anything, it's
different.
I don't know. It just sounds less harsh.
Exactly. That's the thing. Like,
is handicap and illness not different things?
No, I'd say they're the same.
Oh,
Also, it's just like a handicap. That's just euphemistic language to make it sound less harsh, even though functionally it is the same thing.
All right, well, never mind that.
Like any mental condition that can reasonably lower your quality of life is a mental illness.
Fair enough, you convinced me. I'm no longer woke. Thank you, Tanner.
We did it. We de-woked him.
Now it's time to de-yoke him.
Ooh. Anyway, are we bailing on this mental illness thing?
I don't like that. I think this topic is a bit too mean-spirited, to be honest, and that's me saying that.
It's not like it stopped us in the past.
True.
We are big fans of bullying one another.
And by one another, it's mostly me. So let's let's hear it, boys. What do you think?
Yeah, Dylan has depression.
There we go. It's just that simple.
That's one of the things wrong with me.
Dylan just wanted to get diagnosed. That was the entire purpose of this.
There we go. Our first Guapish self-help case, me.
The real answer is I have dissociative identity disorder, and all three of you guys are one of my identities. That's right, audience. This whole thing is fake. I'm talking to myself.
I feel like that's just schizophrenic, but I feel like maybe not.
No, it's dissociative identity disorder.
Oh.
Or multiple personality disorder, as they used to call it.
I think Nico would be bipolar.
Yeah?
I don't know about that.
I can't see it.
I could see Nico having, like, borderline personality disorder.
Okay. What about
or
Jackson?
Even sociopathy.
We already gave me depression. What would Jackson have?
Dude, I've got 2 fucking chill to be alive disorder.
Is nihilism a mental illness?
Yes. I
Some
think
may
so.
say.
I think so. I am some.
Yeah, does ennui count?
There
What
we
is
go.
ennui? What the fuck?
Whatever it is, he's got it out the fucking
No,
caboose.
but I want to know what this is. I want to be educated in this. What is it?
You know the flavor profile of edamame? It's like the brain version of that.
Oh. I don't think I still understand. How do you spell the thing you just said?
So, wait. No, I'm not... Wait. Edamame is a type of fucking bean. What's the... Isn't it also... No, umami. That's what I'm thinking of.
I'm just trying to find out what ennui is here. I don't need to know shit about...
Ennui is the emotional version of umami.
Yeah.
I still don't. Just tell me how
Alright,
to
so
spell
Dylan,
it
you know
all.
Saitama, right?
Yes.
He possesses ennui.
He does have ennui.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
just emotionless?
Yeah.
Oh. That makes sense. Glad we resolved this. Thank you for educating me.
And my mental disorder is my penis is too big.
Yeah, you're crazy for thinking that. There we go.
So guys, this week during Guapish at the Movies, we're going to be reviewing a critically acclaimed film, Fight Club. And, well, let's just say Fight Club has been in the news recently for other reasons.
Oh, right.
I don't really know much about this personally. Tanner, do you want to talk about it?
I don't know anything other than the headline I saw, which is that they're making an all-female reboot / reimagining of Fight Club, which is just like it doesn't make any sense.
I feel like it's just gonna be a repeat of like the all women's Ghostbusters movie all over again. It's gonna flop and people are gonna ask, why was this movie made?
Yeah, probably, because like there were 2 major problems with the all-female Ghostbuster. 1, it was terrible, and 2, them being women didn't even like really change the structure of the thing, you know? Like,
But
it was
it has
just
to be
like a palette
inclusive.
swap.
It
And
has-
I think that's the bit that would be the biggest problem with an all-female Fight Club, because either you don't fundamentally change it in any way, you just swap in women for the male characters, in which case you're watching this and you're like, women wouldn't do this?
Yeah.
Or you do actually try and change the story so that it makes sense that women are participating in it, and you're like, why is this a Fight Club remake? You know?
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? I haven't heard anything about this recently, but a little while back they were like, oh dude, they're gonna make a all-female Lord of the Flies. I'm like, that defeats the whole point of Lord of the Flies.
I don't think I know what Lord of the Flies is.
It's the story of all the wee British lads that get stuck on an island after a plane crash? Yeah, plane crash.
I think it was, yeah.
You're not okay. That we'll address that some other day. But yeah, I think that's like some movies. I think it's totally possible that you could just swap genders and then whatever, it still works as a story. But stuff like Lord of the Flies and Fight Club, the fact that it is centered on male characters is like actually pretty integral to the plot. And because of that, you are faced with the two options of you keep it exactly the same but swap in women, and then it doesn't make any sense why it's happening that way. Or you swap in women and then you do change the plot so it seems like something that women would do, and then you're like, why is this being advertised as a remake of this thing then?
But Tanner,
yeah.
Did you consider that maybe the old Fight Club was too masculine and that didn't represent women, that women couldn't be strong considering it showed no women, so they have to show that women can be tough and strong?
It has a woman in it.
Yeah, I don't think that's the representation that they would want, Tanner. I don't think anyway.
I think there are many women that look at Marla and they're like, OMG, she's literally me.
So, Tan, do you know if this all-female Fight Club is going to be in addition to Fight Club 2, or is that what Fight Club 2 is?
I hadn't even heard about a Fight Club 2.
Yeah, there was a trailer that released for it a few weeks ago.
Huh.
I literally have not heard about this at all.
Gotcha.
Does it look terrible?
I haven't fucking watched the trailer, so I couldn't tell ya. I would assume it won't be good.
Yeah, I don't understand this whole idea that movie producers like to do where they'll wait 10, 15 plus years and then decide they want to make a sequel to a movie where it doesn't make any sense. Much how we got like Twisters after Twister was made back in like 1997 or something. I don't remember when it was released, but too damn long ago for it to matter. It's just like another example of like companies just cannot let good things die. For some reason, they have to keep it going. What's up?
The female Fight Club thing is totally fake. I got fooled.
God damn it.
It's that fucking, there's that Twitter account Discussing Film, which posts lots of film rumors, and then there's also a well-known fake Discussing Film account called like Discussing Film with an N or some shit, and they just post all this bullshit,
this
fake
is the
movie
second
stuff
time on Guapish that you've gotten tricked by them.
They fucking got me. Those motherfuckers.
Sounds like Tanner needs to do some better research.
I will say, let's see. Yeah, it says here no official Fight Club remake is in development and no sequel is planned.
Huh.
But dude, there's literally a fucking trailer for it.
Nico got bamboozled too.
He might have gotten bamboozled as well, dude.
Dude, I don't think I did.
Fight Club 2 trailer.
Yeah, let's see if we can find this.
Yeah, let's try. This is... When did this come out? 4 weeks ago, but who is it posted by? Yeah, this is just some random
god
YouTube
damn it, yeah,
channel.
It's not real.
They fucking got him, boys, let's go!
They got us both, dude. That's very
Hell
funny.
Yeah, 2 for 2.
Well, scrap that entire topic. God
There
damn
was
it.
zero purpose behind any of that.
Cut this.
Why would we cut? That's premium content.
That's premium.
We need something else to pad this out now.
I mean, leave it all in, because that shit was funny as fuck.
Of course I will, but...
get this topic out of here. Fuck this topic.
This fucking... God damn it. Those fuckers. I mean, I got a couple things I want to talk about today. I don't know how much more time we have, though.
Dude, go for it. Talk about your dumb bullshit.
Okay. We'll do politics very brief because it's old news now already, but RFK Jr., he announced that he's going to be joining forces with Trump, and he decided to drop out of 10 states where it's going to be like a close election so that he doesn't harm Trump's chances, but he's staying in 40 other states that are just like solid red or blue so people can still vote for him and show that they want like a third party choice. Very interesting move. I've never seen this done before. I think the fact that Trump is turning into like a moderate unity party is very funny. Seeing people cope and seethe over this is very funny as well. RFK gave a great speech. He's really trying to hit on issues that I've really been slowly coming to believe are more and more important, namely that, like, all of our food is fucking poison. But yeah, and he's kind of, like, bringing environmentalism back to the Republican Party, which is funny. But yeah, I don't know. Did any of you guys have any thoughts on RFK doing this?
I heard it happened.
No.
Dude, he got a worm in his brain.
He did get a worm in his brain, yeah.
My politics that I had for today was I heard somebody mention that Trump supporters are psychotic, and that's all I heard before I walked off and ignored the rest of the conversation.
Holy no.
You didn't hear him out?
I mean, no, I don't. I choose not to get involved with that. It also involved family, so I choose to not quarrel with that, considering I have to live with them. That would make the environment in my house very awkward.
Dude, they could have had some good points.
I mean, I don't care either way, really. I don't have strong enough opinions to have an argument.
Me either, dude. All I care about is Tanner, how's my boy Andrew Yang doing in the polls?
Andrew Yang is not running for anything, and I don't think anyone's heard from him in years.
Wait,
Damn
is
it.
this guy actually a political figure? I thought he was just like a meme thing.
No,
you guys...
he's a real guy.
Yeah, he was running in 2016.
The first
2016.
memory I have of this guy was like we were playing fucking Monster High or whatever the hell for one of our like Halloween specials, and one of you guys named your character Yang Gang or whatever, and I had no clue what the fuck.
Definitely Nico.
Yeah, I had no clue what the fuck you guys were talking about. It's like my first memory of this guy, and you guys have just been, yelling his name as like some kind of joke. So it's like, oh, he's just some random guy. Don't even worry about it. Oh, he found it.
Why is the name on the poster and then the name in IMDb of this different, though?
It says the original name of the movie is Female Fight Club. I'm not sure why it's showing as Female Fight Squad.
They probably got
in other
fucking
places.
sued or something.
Guys, I know what movie we're watching next.
How the hell did they get Dolph Lundgren in this bullshit? There's no way. He shows up for like 5 seconds as like the father who gets killed or something. Anyway, let me mention Real Page. Have you guys heard of this?
I looked it up and I was like, oh wow, that sounds bothersome. I don't care.
Yeah, it's fucking bullshit. I heard about it recently. I'm like, god damn, I fucking hate that. It's a app that like landlords will download and use, and literally it just kind of takes information from all the landlords in an area and tells them, hey, this is the maximum amount of money that you could charge for your apartment. So it's literally like cartel-style collusion, but like it's through a third-party app, so therefore it's totally chill or something.
I
Like
mean, landlords have been doing that shit for a long time. This is just like an app that kind of formalizes it now, I'd imagine.
yeah,
makes it more
but yeah.
convenient.
Well, my point is that's super illegal.
Tanner, are you going anti-landlord?
Not. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm anti doing this because, like I said, this is cartel behavior, which is very illegal in the United States.
Are you saying the landlords are unethical?
No. I'm just saying that this specific app and choice to use it or whatever is very bad. Any thoughts about that, guys?
What am I supposed to do about it? Huh?
What am I? How do I know? This is the first time
It's
I'm hearing
bad.
about it.
What more can I say, dude?
Okay. Anyway,
Get Andrew Yang on the ballot. He'll fix it.
there we go. Come on, Yang. We know you're out there.
Your
Come on
country
out with your
needs
hands
you.
up.
Yang gang.
Okay, last topic before we go into the movies, and it's related to the movies. Let's talk about fucking Hitler, dude.
Okay.
Oh. I mean, I get how it's related, but what spurred on
Actually,
this
should I
idea?
save this for... I should probably save this for the discussion about the movie itself.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
I guess so.
Speaking of movies...
Speaking
What?
of Hitler,
What?
I think it's about time we go to Guapish at the movie. I don't have much of a. Let's go to Guapish.
You
at the
already
movies.
had a segue set up, though. Why did you go from segue to transition into a different segue?
Yeah.
I don't know
I wanted
any.
to do the segue.
I don't know any good transitioning music. I can't remember any iconic
Guess who's
songs.
back?
Yeah.
Back
Back
again.
again. Shady's back. Call a friend. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Explain Frankenstein! Or whatever.
Jackson, what did we watch this week?
The Patreon pick this week, as requested by Lavaskin, was the 2020 film The Island of Giant Insects, which of course is a fantastic movie. This is an adaptation of a manga by the same name, where we have a bunch of high schoolers that are stranded in an airplane crash on an island that has giant insects on it, and they try to survive the giant insects. And that's basically it. There's gruesome deaths and no ending.
Fun fact, and I'm really scraping the barrel to get this one.
I can imagine.
The voice actor of Ayumi is also the voice of Sakura in the recent Street Fighters.
No way. Dude, I love Sakura. She's like one of my mains.
Holy cow.
Sick.
Yeah, this movie is boring and dumb. It's
What?
not bad enough to be funny, it's not hot enough to be horny, and it's not gross enough to be gory. It just doesn't manage to be entertaining in any way a film can be entertaining.
Yeah, and like on top of that, Jackson said this was the uncensored version, but like a majority of it was still pretty fucking censored, so. And I remember saying this before we even watched the film, like, I don't know, like, I guess my morbid human curiosity was, like, wanting to know what the manga was, and I was hoping that the movie would, I mean, I guess the movie kind of hinted towards it, but yeah, I, like, agree with Tanner, like, it went so far as to go for the idea, but, like, it felt like it never committed to anything, and, without it having, like, an ending, and it just was so drawn out, and, like, it felt pretty uneventful for the most part, and then there was just a bunch of deaths, and, like, none of the characters meant anything. It was just, like, a whole lot of nothing, and it like, the animation, and I realize now, looking back on it, because you guys thought I was crazy, the animation was, like, not even, it was like watching a regular anime, and there were even, like, breaks in between, like, it was supposed
really
to be split
low budget anime.
Yeah, so, I don't know, this movie just, like Tanner said, this movie doesn't excel very much in any area whatsoever, and it wasn't even entertaining at all, so it's kind of like, why did I watch this?
Yeah, I think the idea behind them getting stranded on an island with a bunch of bug things and trying to use the knowledge they have of how the bugs work as like a setting is kind of cool, but that's literally the only thing this movie has going for it. The main character exposition dumping on the intricacies of these bugs all the time is so fucking boring. The character is constantly trying to sabotage themselves by getting rid of her for no reason is dumb as fuck. All the characters are retarded. There's a bunch of like dynamics that are introduced in this film that just go nowhere too because it doesn't have an ending. This is straight up just like half the story. I guess they're planning on having a part 2 or something that's probably never going to happen in 4 years. And because of that, there's just a lot of pointless bullshit that's completely stupid throughout this film. Yeah, also, of course, yeah, it's very poorly animated. There's a ton of really bad CG. I have basically nothing positive to say about this.
I guess I have a bonus fun fact here real quick for us. So, as we know, in the film, there's a point where one of the characters is like walking around the hospital and he opens up a big old door with like some droopy shit going on and he screams. He's so terrified. Yeah. And we think, oh, what the fuck is going to happen there? What's up with that? And he just appears later and it's like no big deal or whatever the fuck. We never find out what's behind that door. But apparently in the manga they do show us what happens behind there.
Can I guess? Can I guess if I remember it correctly?
Yeah, go for it.
Is it roly polies?
No, it's not.
Damn it. I do remember those popping up at some point, though, when it was going on.
Yeah, I mean, you know, maybe they were like... I do think there are, like, some other bugs that attack the hospital, but what's behind that door is apparently a bunch of, like, fucking bugs that are being, like, dissected in, like, various stages of, like, growth or whatever, to imply that, like, oh, this is, like, a research facility where, like, maybe they were, like, starting to grow the bugs or, like, testing on them and shit like that. That's all that's back there. There's just a bunch of dead bugs being experimented on.
I'm glad that they just cut out lore from the movie that was already barren of any explanations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's one thing I also was gonna say is, like, this movie also likes to, like, reach towards, like, a plot point, but then doesn't, like I said, doesn't commit, and then pulls away from it, and that scene is one of them where it's like, okay, and they do that multiple times in this movie. There's, like, the part in the beginning where they go to the bee house, and there's definitely people in there they could save, they just choose not to. And then on top of that, wow, I totally lost my main point I was gonna bring up. The reason I was bringing this up in the first... Oh, the fucking trope in horror survival movies where, and like, maybe it is more common than I think it is, but where like the survivors are intentionally trying to fuck each other over all the goddamn time. Like, that was the one thing that kept happening in this movie, is everybody was like, yeah, fuck this other person, or fuck these other people, we have to survive. When clearly it was very easy for them to all survive at the same time, and it actually was, like, more work for them to have to go out of their way to screw the other people, because they didn't like them or whatever. So I just thought that was extremely dumb. I hate that trope in all horror movies. Why are you trying to, like the football guy in the beginning of the movie said, there's strength in numbers. Why the fuck are you trying to reduce your party size? Like, it's super stupid.
This is like something that you see in a lot of these sorts of things where it's like, oh, a group of survivors, or like even in like reality TV shows like Survivor or whatever the fuck, or like, a total drama, you gotta have like, the mean girl, some character who's there to like stir shit up, to create like some sort of like interpersonal drama, to like, generate something that's a bit more interesting for like the characters. Cause like, if they're all just banding together trying to survive, people may not like it quite as much. The problem is that like she's incredibly blatant and stupid about it in this film, so it just doesn't come off as believable whatsoever when she's doing shit like, hey, I want to just like leave these people behind even though they obviously have enough time to survive. I'm just gonna let them die anyway because I hate them. That girl likes bugs. Hey, jock guy, do you want to rape this girl for me real quick here?
Yeah, that part was a bit
Right.
I mean, even then with that explanation, in shows like Survival, or in the cases of like fake stuff where it's total drama as well, it makes sense where they like divide, but specifically in this kind of thing where there's already a predetermined threat, and that threat is very capable of killing anybody at any given moment in the movie, it makes even less sense. So like, I get the trope in other contexts, but especially in this context and the way you just explained it, no sense at all.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but after those first two people that get killed by the butterflies, none of our main cast gets killed? They just keep wandering upon other people that are still alive and they just die in front of them?
Yeah,
That
I think
sounds
so.
right.
Isn't that horrifically lame?
Yes.
Yeah, because there was that part when they were in the forest where they were being attacked by, like, mites or ticks or something like that, like wood ticks. I for sure thought somebody was gonna die there, like the pink-haired girl. And, that's the other thing, is, like, they tried to make it, like, such a big deal, like, all these other students were dying. It's like, I don't give a shit. Like, these characters mean nothing. You're trying to make me care about characters I don't care about.
Yeah, I met this person 5 seconds ago and they immediately died, like...
Dylan, I really appreciate this character development, by the way. In previous films, you said that, why do I need to, like, get to know these characters? They're like people. Of course, I just inherently want to see them live and survive. I'm glad you now want to actually get to know these characters and to have a reason to care about them.
I actually didn't even realize that till just now. Holy shit.
He did it.
I'm evolving and I don't even know it.
That's right. Don't worry, we see it and we appreciate it, though.
Yeah, let's go. Anyway.
You guys remember the scene where the girl is walking down a hallway for 5 minutes?
That shit was fucking hilarious.
That was the best part of the movie.
Usually in, like, anime, that's the part where you hear the protagonist's thoughts, but we just didn't. So it's her walking down a hallway with her self-doubts, and all we see is her, like, physical reactions, but we don't hear what's going on in her mind, which makes it even more boring. It's kind of whatever. I don't know. It's funny that
the
this
whole chase scene that happened after is completely retarded too.
Yeah, it's
like the
unrealistic.
fucking bug is super fucking fast, and she's just outrunning it somehow constantly and bobbing and weaving with superhuman confidence.
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, this movie's so fucking whatever, dude. I think it's funny this movie invokes so much conversation, but it's not because it was a good movie. It's just because we there's no way we watched two movies that are just bad back to back. But we're just hitting that season again, I guess.
I love the part of the movie where they're all just naked in that lake or something on the island for no reason except for just to see some boobs.
Yeah.
And they weren't even that good looking either.
Yeah, this is low budget. These are some bad looking tits, to be honest.
Listen, dude, we saw a blossoming lesbian relationship where the team captain was supposed to keep the one...
We saw like 2 blossoming lesbian relationships and then a hetero one where they just fuck.
Yeah. We didn't even see that one. We heard it for like 5 seconds.
It implied it. We're about to see another one, damn it, and then they cut it away with some bonking.
Anyway.
Yeah, anyway, Dylan, do you want to kick off the rating here?
F+.
F+. Dude, I'll just give a straight F, I think.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Nico. This is just a straight F for me.
I was right there with Dylan. I gave it an F+.
There we go.
All seems right to me.
And unsurprisingly, that puts it at F+ overall.
Holy cow.
Also, by the way, shout out to Tanner, MVP of the episode, removing Sandwich's collar.
Oh, let's go.
Ow, hey.
Speaking of Tanner, we've got his pick of the week, which was the 2015 film Look Who's Back.
That's right, guys. Look Who's Back is a sort of film. It's not it's a film about what if Hitler woke up one day in 2014 modern day Germany and, he decides that, things have gone to shit while I was missing and the German people need to hear my message again. And it's just kind of showing him rise to power again, basically. It cuts off before he actually does get any power, but there's, nothing standing in his way, so to speak.
There's, implications.
Yeah. Fun fact about this movie is, a lot of the sections where he's, actually talking to, common people, those are, unscripted, Borat-type, situations where they just put the guy in costume and had him walk around in public and talk to people.
Okay, see, that actually was going to be one of my questions, because I noticed
That's why there's scenes where people's faces are, blurred out.
Yeah, and I couldn't tell if that was just, a director's choice or whatever, because, it could add to, I guess, it's not even found footage, just the depth of, the documentary vibe to the movie. But, part of me was what if, it'd be super sweet if, they just dressed this guy up in a Hitler costume and had him walk around Germany and just had him talk to random people unscripted. Well, obviously, some parts of this movie are very scripted.
Yeah.
I thought that was a very, I haven't seen a movie do that before, and if they have, it wasn't as obvious as this, I guess, or I haven't had a discussion about it. But this movie was very creative with its ideas. Also, I wouldn't have ever guessed, besides it, having Hitler on, I wouldn't have guessed it's a straight up German movie. I didn't expect it to be in German, let me say that, I guess. But yeah, I like how this movie, it was pretty funny, so I can appreciate, I think there was a comedy value they were going for, which I think they got pretty well. The acting in this movie was very, very good. At least to me, and I think the way that it paced itself was very, very well done. The one part that's tripping me up is at the very end, or close to the end, because obviously the main dude, the filming guy, he ends up in some kind of psych ward at the end of the movie, and so now I'm left wondering, and I think this was the intention of the movie, I'm left wondering at the end, because obviously him being in the psych ward wasn't part of the filming process. At what point did he get thrown in there, and where did it stop being our movie and it came their movie? Because obviously, it cut back to them finishing up his documentary or whatever,
I don't know, and I don't know if that's that important. Okay, I want to have a serious big boy discussion about what happens in this film. So, slight add-on to my fun fact about, the guerrilla filming. So, originally, this movie was very much supposed to be just a straight-up comedy, making fun of Hitler, basically. The problem is, when they started shooting those guerrilla scenes, they got very unexpected reactions. And by unexpected reactions, I mean people actually kind of embracing him, not, spitting on him or beating him up or anything. People, earnestly telling him their concerns about what is happening in Germany. And, this threw them off so much that they kind of had to change the whole tone of the movie to fit those scenes. And I read this article that was an interview with the director, and he was so massively taken aback by these reactions. And one line that really stood out from the interview was him saying, I guess these people haven't learned from history or whatever. And that really just set my brain off because, no, you're just kind of a dumb fuck. I think the way we get taught in school, and apparently how the Germans also get taught in school, about Hitler and the rise of Hitler is just not useful and bordering on negligent. Like, the two big questions I think this film is seeking to, like, answer in, you know, sort of a comedic, introspective way is, how did Hitler rise to power, and how do we stop another Hitler from rising to power? And these are usually the two questions that most history classes that you take in, you know, public education on this are trying to answer as well. And the lessons that we typically are told to walk away with is that Hitler was like a uniquely charismatic figure, and the German people were just blinded by ignorance and hatred, and that's how he came to power. And therefore, the way you avoid another Hitler is, like, be careful of charismatic speakers. And all you have to do is spot the next Hitler, and then you can stop him. And these
that guy's charming! Let's fucking put him to death!
Exactly. These are both deeply retarded lessons that have apparently been internalized by a huge portion of the population. The biggest problem I see here is, like, okay, let's say you do successfully spot the real Hitler, as some people did in this movie. If you are in a democratic system, how do you stop him even if you spot him? The only way to do that would be to undermine your own system. So, like, I thought this movie, like, kind of accidentally becomes a really interesting commentary on all of that stuff, because it kind of can allow people to question those assumptions. And I'm not going to leave it open-ended. I'll give you the real answers. Hitler rose to power because he was offering solutions to real problems that were not only not being addressed by the existing political structure, but in many cases were being pushed by the existing political structure. And that's the exact same thing that we see happening in the modern day in this movie, where people are concerned about immigration, their wages, crime, you know, sort of the German identity, and he is offering solutions. Regardless of whether they'll work or not, the fact is he's offering solutions that the existing political structure that the people should be trusting are not offering. And so the way that you stop a Hitler or another Hitler from rising to power is do not allow problems to rise in society that only extremists will be willing to solve. And I think that I think in America, we very obviously find ourselves in a similar situation. And Germany, it's so interesting watching this movie 10 years later, because it just looks very future-seeing. Like, I think just today, I saw in the news that the AfD, which is what, like, the far right-wing party in Germany, just won the majority of seats in one of the German states for the first time. So, like, this movie kind of predated what in the last 2 to 3 years has been a massive rise in, like, alt-right parties in Germany. And I think it's very interesting of a movie because of that.
So, Tanner, what you're saying here is that there are a lot of parallels like being drawn between Hitler and Trump, and you are not a big fan that this film is attempting to give us a ways of, stopping Trump from being elected.
There are parallels between them. I don't think Trump, that actually gets me off on another thing. Here's another problem. Is a lot of people like doing this thing where, they'll say, okay, if someone has A, B, and C, in common with Hitler, they must have X, Y, and Z. And for Hitler, we'll say X, Y, and Z is the extermination of the Jewish people. So people will say, Trump and Hitler both appeal to, like, populist beliefs. They're both, like, anti-foreigner, more or less. And, you know, they make loud speeches or whatever the fuck. Therefore, when the news or anyone, like, draws these parallels, they're trying to get you, the viewer, to jump to, then Trump wants to exterminate the Jews. So, like, yes, there are parallels between Hitler and Trump, and frankly, there are gonna be parallels between Hitler and any political leader, but just because there are a handful of parallels, that doesn't let you go then, okay, therefore, we're jumping straight to, these people also want to exterminate the Jews,
Based, all political Hitlers are political.
All political Hitlers.
I'm leaving it at that. No further comment from me.
You guys got any thoughts, or do you just want to talk about the movie now?
Oh, was that not talking about the movie?
It's movie adjacent.
Okay.
It's about why I find this film so interesting to watch.
It does say a lot about society, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I guess in terms if we're just talking about the movie, I have nothing to add to Tanner's conversation. I agree. Nice talk. Yeah, I thought it was entertaining. I enjoyed the ending. It definitely feels like it's like a big tonal shift at the end. When I like movies that do something like that, where it's kind of like a comedy, and then it like realizes it can be serious about something, and it does. And I think it executed the ending pretty well. I thought it was entertaining. It really has like a very foreboding message, which of course leads into what Tanner was talking about with the entirety of it. I thought it was an enjoyable film. I don't think it did anything like super crazy for me. I think the acting was pretty good from Hitler. He did a pretty swell job. The idea behind it's pretty silly, of course. They lean into the absurdity of it a lot. I thought it was enjoyable. I don't really have a ton to say.
Yeah, I agree more on the movie aspects. I thought it's very well acted and pretty smartly written overall.
Oh yeah, the fucking dude playing Hitler, I don't know his fucking name, some German guy. He's
some Italian guy.
Some Italian guy, never mind. Yeah, his portrayal of Hitler was definitely both like, a little humorous as well as just like generally unsettling how well he was able to pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
Can we also just reflect on the amount of times they said the N-word in this movie for it being a exclusively white movie?
They only said the N-word once,
They said it twice or 3 times, actually, but,
Oh, okay.
For the amount of white people is what I was saying, but regardless.
I can't believe they had Hitler say the hard R N-word. How dare they?
Yeah, I guess, like, one thing that I thought was pretty neat was how, like, the film is, like, blurring the line between, like, the fiction of, like, the film and then, like, the reality of, like, our modern day world with, like, those interviews and how that is also, like, kind of played off of, like, within the film itself, too, like, the general narrative where, like, they are also, like, making this other movie within this movie that's, like, kind of fucking with our expectations of, like, like, towards the end of it. When they are, like, fucking doing that thing where it's like, okay, I'm gonna execute you now, Hitler, you're fucking dead. And Hitler delivers his spine-chilling line at the end there. But then, that wasn't actually... That wasn't the ending of the movie. That was, like, the ending of the movie within the movie. What the fuck? It's crazy. I'm a big fan of that shit.
That's what I was talking about.
And, funnily, that line he says in that scene where it's like, oh, I'll always be a part of the German people or whatever. Now, the way they meant that is, like, in this stupid left-wing, like, original sin way where, like, oh, you can never truly wash yourselves clean of history or whatever. But I also agree with the sentiment, but more in the way of that, like, people are always going to... Let me rephrase this.
Hitler is, like, such a, like, massive figure within history that, like, the idea of him will always permeate it.
It was more so like the issues he was trying to address, aside from the Jew thing, will always be issues that are important to people. One thing I wanted to say is that, like, the biggest, like, problem that I think Hitler and Trump and many other, like, sort of right-wing leaders try to address is that, people do not like being made to feel like they are foreigners in their own country. And any time that sort of sentiment becomes stronger and stronger, you are going to see the door open to, like, authoritarian type figures. And so in that way, I kind of took it that, like, yes, this feeling in the German people that, like, hey, this is our homeland. We have a specific set of, like, cultural beliefs and mores and whatever. We are going to always want to maintain that. And when faced with a threat to that, like mass immigration or various societal changes, there's going to be a part of us that is going to cling to someone like Hitler who says they will, make that go away, whether they can or not.
Much like a certain current candidate, you might say.
One last thing in regards to the actual... my only, like, real gripe with this movie... when he was, and this is also a point where I was like, is this part of their movie or is this part of our movie? When he was like reviewing his footage, when he was starting to put the pieces together, like, oh, maybe this is actually Hitler and somehow he time traveled. When he's like reviewing the footage and he sees like, he's like rewinding, it's like smoke, and then the smoke turns into like a big flash of purple light. Are you telling me nobody, absolutely nobody saw that? Like, not even the guy filming what was going on? Like, is that...
Yeah, it was a little
remarked
wacky
on that too.
It was just looked over a little bit. I was kind of like, that's a little unrealistic. Maybe if they made it a little... I figured he was going to review the footage and see something subtle, but no, it was very blatantly obvious. There was some kind of random phenomenon that happened there.
There's a big-ass fucking orb there.
Yeah, I was like, how did anybody fucking miss that? But okay, whatever. I'm invested in this movie, so let's go, I guess.
You know, he was scrolling through the timeline. Maybe it happened for just like a single frame, so like no one was able to catch it.
But no, it was a whole ass like fucking 10 seconds. But whatever.
As for our rankings, I suppose, Tanner, what do you think you're going to be going for here?
I'm going to give this one an A.
Ooh. Wow. That's honestly lower than I was expecting you to give it.
Damn.
Jackson, how about you?
I'm giving it a B+.
Wow. Yeah, I think I'm definitely higher than you are. I think I'm going to go between you guys for an A-.
Whoa. Yeah, I don't understand anything about politics, so I'm surprised that I enjoyed this movie at all. But he shot a fucking dog. This is an F-. I'm just kidding.
That shit was funny as fuck.
Dude, that was so fucked.
And when he had the dog and he was like making it say the N-word, that shit was hilarious.
But yeah, no, I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. It made me think a lot, which is something movies don't usually do. I gave this movie an A- as well.
You heard it here first, guys. Hitler makes Dylan think.
And that lands the movie at an A- overall.
Alrighty, boys. And speaking of films that make Dylan think...
Hold on, what's this one? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about 1999's Fight Club. So, boys, Fight Club is a film that... Does the main character have a name? Do we ever get that?
He is only called the narrator.
Okay.
Tyler.
No, the main character.
We'll call him Joe Everyman. So Joe is a disillusioned office worker, okay? He has insomnia, it's real bad, so he ends up going to, some meetings to just get some good cries out. But ends up not being enough for the guy after, this dumb bitch comes in and ruins the whole thing. So he ends up meeting this cool guy named Tyler Durden, and the two, they grow closer as they start to work out their frustrations by just beating the shit out of each other, and this slowly grows into a massive fucking organization where a bunch of men come together and beat the shit out of each other, and from there it just continues to escalate into just general warfare amongst the people, and as it turns out, guys, this Tyler guy, he's not real. Tanner, what's your fun fact for this movie?
My fun fact about Fight Club, the narrator really did punch Brad Pitt in the ear. It was supposed to be fake, but the director right before the scene told him to really hit him.
Oh.
That's funny.
Yikes.
Dylan, how'd you feel about this one?
I'd much rather hear you guys talk about it first.
We'd much rather hear you talk about it first.
It was a very psychedelic movie. It has some funny, clip-ins every once in a while.
Did you enjoy it overall?
I don't know.
He's waiting to hear from us whether or not he enjoyed it.
He hasn't established an opinion yet. He needs more information.
He got stat checked by Fight Club, guys.
He did.
All right, Dylan, please give us your ranking right now before we proceed.
No, I have two rankings and they're differing, so...
What the fuck does that mean?
F- and A+.
No, not that. Not that far apart. It has an interesting concept.
Dylan, would you say you get this movie?
I feel like there's a deeper message I'm probably missing, unless I'm not, in which case I would be surprised either way.
What do you think, if you had to take a shot in the dark at what the message is, what would you say?
I think this guy just has an extrapolating mental condition where he thinks that something's wrong with him, and he thinks he needs an out, he thinks he needs a fix because there's something actually wrong with him, because he has no healthy outlet, I guess, for his pre-existing problems. And since, it's kind of like being addicted to a drug, where once you had a hit, you kind of just need stronger and stronger doses as you go, until eventually it snowballs into an uncontrollable mess. And so, he's just completely unable to do anything about what's going on, and he's slowly losing his grasp on himself, which is what ends up happening towards the end of the movie, where he can't control Tyler. Tyler's out of control. Tyler's doing all this bizarre, weird shit, but it's really just him. But that's just like him losing his mind and his sense of reality. And he's unable to grab it and save it before it is out of his own hands, even though he's the one that instigated it in the first place. And so he just figured that the best way to resolve it and to kind of cleanse himself of everything that's happened is to embrace it and to let it kind of like fall where it lies and then just start over with a clean slate. And for some reason, that's like the solution to him solving his big mental crisis at the end of the day. I don't think I did an accurate or, apt job at
honestly, I don't think
movie,
that's a bad interpretation.
Let's fucking go. Let's hear what you guys have to say about this shit.
Guys, I'm so fucked up right now. I had so many notes written about this movie, and I apparently deleted them all after we talked about Concord.
Oh.
Damn. You can't undo or
no,
anything?
I don't have the option on here.
Holy fuck.
I apparently if you exit the file and then go back, you can't undo anymore.
Yikes.
Oh no.
It's kind of ironic, because you guys tell me to write notes, but, here we are. You can't
What does that
remember
have to do with
anything.
I don't know if that's ironic. Like, you still wrote the notes.
This is definitely the first movie in quite some time that I really latched onto. I think this movie's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I really like the concept behind it of I just really like psychological things, where they kind of play with the audience specifically. I think our main character is a very engaging protagonist, especially once Tyler gets in the mix and you get to see their dynamic in the way that he kind of riffs off him. I think it's cool, especially like just even like thinking after the twist happens and just like thinking about things throughout the film of like, oh yeah, how the fuck could this possibly work with Tyler only being a figment of his imagination? Like, how the fuck did any of this make sense? And then kind of just like putting the pieces together retroactively, which is cool. I think stuff like that's fun. I thought the acting was really well done. I think there's a lot of really clever shots in this movie. It's a very engaging movie to watch just from like a cinematography perspective. I think the soundtrack is pretty fucking cool too. I honestly have nothing fucking negative to say about the sound. I think this fucking movie's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet. Tanner, would you like to tell us all about how you think that Tyler is a based golden god who did nothing wrong in this film?
I'm actually going the exact opposite direction.
Dude, no way.
The major themes of this movie are like consumerism, masculinity, and specifically like the way masculinity is, I don't know, my brain is telling me to say undermined. I don't know if that would really be it, but like the way masculinity in the modern era where, your average man is not like out tilling the fields or doing traditionally masculine things, what that does to a man's sense of masculinity. And I think it's kind of sort of a warning siren against like what happens if you do not give yourself healthy outlets for like your masculine energy, if you want to call it. And what happens is you start random street fights and then a terrorist organization.
Yeah, it's generally like a message to like all the like just sort of like lost, resentful men who have like no idea of what exactly they're supposed to be doing with their lives, or like how to like really be a generally healthy person.
Yeah. Now, if the narrator had, instead of, becoming a schizophrenic, just started going to the gym, he probably would have been fine.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember having a very distinct thought almost halfway through this movie when they started, like, getting people to do some crazy shit. I was like, this is how cults are started, and that's about as far as that thought went.
And
that
you
is
fucking
true.
nailed that thought, dude.
Yeah, I know. I continued down the movie. I was like, ah, shit, I was right.
Yeah, but yeah, this movie is great acting, brilliantly written. The dialogue is great. It very much, and the editing, holy shit, it makes me think of like The Big Short or any of those movies we've seen where it's like very snappily edited, lots of stuff to keep your attention while also having like little subliminal messages and whatever. Obviously, Dylan pointed out how like before we even ever meet Tyler, we see like single frames of him popping in and out, which is then called back to when he has that fake job as a projectionist, inserting like single frames of porn into kids' movies.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's in case you didn't catch it before. You're like, oh, I wonder if they were doing that in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like, you know, the character of Tyler Durden, he's constantly like the film, like, you know, kind of makes it be like, oh man, like this stuff that Tyler's doing, it's like so cool or whatever. And it's like, oh, is Tyler right about like society and stuff like that? Like, I feel like a lot of young men nowadays will definitely resonate with the sort of things like Tyler's saying throughout this film. But Tyler's ideas are definitely very fucking stupid. Just generally speaking here, because like his big overarching plan here is to like fucking blow up all the credit bureaus or whatever the fuck, or like just general like random credit card company buildings to like erase everyone's debt. That's not at all how that works.
Yeah.
That
And even if you
anything.
do erase everyone's debt, like how long till they just end up in debt again? Like how much of a difference would that even actually make?
Yeah. Or like one of
Or
the
is
like
that
really
even like necessarily? You could also look at it from the perspective of like, is that even necessarily like the goal? Obviously, Project Mayhem or whatever it's called initially just starts out as them kind of just fucking around to let out their, you know, masculine urges. Maybe they could have just used that, even if it wasn't actually going to help in the long run, but it was just kind of an excuse to get more people into it. You know, you could look at it, you know, from like a meta perspective, like as this is a kind of a pointless endeavor. It was entirely just for recruitment and just it's like a project they can all work on. So you know, guys like watching big fucking explosions. At least that's my defense of how you could do it, and I think it makes sense personally.
I can kind of see that, yeah.
Yeah,
And
potentially.
yeah, I agree with what Nico is saying here. It reminds me of how like, yeah, young men, when you're in this movie is also like with you know, the Hitler movie, it's very much like, oh, things are still very fucking relevant now. Or like when you feel like you're living in a society that doesn't allow you to express masculinity, sometimes you will embrace people who are like bad examples of it.
yeah. Look at Andrew Tate. I'm staring
Yeah.
you down the barrel right now, Buster.
Yeah, guys like Andrew Tate who have no chin. And then, yeah, Tyler Durden, who is like a homeless vagrant who has... I mean, he has jobs, I guess, so, like, at least he's employed, but, like, yeah, he lives in a fucking broken down shack. He's just fucking whores all day. Like, it's not a life that you want, you know?
But he sounds so cool, dude.
He's so cool. He's so aloof, dude. I want to not care about anything, ever.
Well, you see, he's unrestrained by, like, all this, fucking, like, corporatism and, like, consumerism that we have going on, okay? All you need to do is follow him and be exactly like him and completely remove your sense of self and just, like, you know, stop being a slave to the corporate overlords and instead become his slave, okay? That's the only way of going about things here.
Tyler believes in what can be unburdened by what has been.
There's also, like, the big scene with him where he's, you know, he has the gun to that dude's head, and he's yelling at him, like, what did you want to be back in college, okay, all this shit, and then, you know, he lets him go, he runs off. Tyler gives, like, this spiel about how, like, you know, he's finally gonna start following his dreams. Tomorrow, he's gonna wake up, he's gonna eat some cereal, and damn, it's gonna be, like, the best food he's ever had in his life. But, like... I don't think that is what's gonna happen, Tyler. I think he's gonna be fucking terrified, and he's not gonna like that he has to go back to school and, like, be fucking pressured that if he doesn't do well, you're gonna show up one day and fucking murder him, dude.
Right.
I would agree, but I think the scene's primarily just to fucking glaze this movie some more. I think their perspective is mostly just kind of to talk to the audience about it. Specifically, they're kind of a lot of the time throughout this movie, they're trying to pose the question of, if you die, like what would be like a regret of yourself if you die? And I think it's primarily just like a meta thing of like this is just them showing, we're kind of like asking the audience the question almost, you know, like if you had a gun pointed to your head and you were about to die, what the fuck would you want to do? What would be your goals? I think it's kind of just trying to do that. I would agree, probably the guy would be freaked the fuck out. I think he'd be trying to leave the country or something. But I don't think that's the point.
I think it might be the point, dude. I think that the director really wants us to understand that Tyler's a fucking psycho and he doesn't know what he's talking about.
You're saying that this movie's not trying to be introspective?
No, it is, absolutely. But at the same time, like, you know, maybe don't follow the things that Tyler Durden's trying to teach you about.
Fair enough, dude, I guess. I don't know.
He's got good and bad points about it. I don't think he's supposed to just be entirely a negative thing. It is, in fact, kind of like an idealized version of himself. And of course, there's some positives that go along with that.
Yeah, which, like, I'm a big fan of the unreliable narrator trope. I fucking love that shit. Like, when he starts, like, talking about, when Tyler, rather, is, like, going about, like, his backstory and stuff like that, where do you think, like, that stuff came from? Like, is that, like, the reality of, like, what the narrator's, like, real, like, past is? Or is this just, like, some random thing that he thought of, like, oh, yeah, this would be, like, a cool thing for Tyler to be when he was a child?
I interpreted it as, like, yeah, that's his exact same thing. Because I feel like when he's saying that and Tyler gives that, like, one spiel about his father, well, at one point in that conversation, the narrator literally goes, oh, yeah, me too. And then he goes on another spiel about his life, and then the narrator gets, like, a weird quizzical look on his face. And so I think that was signaling that, that's strange. We have the exact same upbringing as each other.
Yeah, we're just boys who were raised by women or whatever.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of, like, fun little hints throughout the movie that are pretty subtle about, things. I think they're cool, like, that, hint to Tyler not being real. Like, one of them that's really hard to fucking catch is on the phone, like, the toll booth number that he calls Tyler on. When they zoom into him, like, punching in the keys, or, when Tyler calls him back, it actually shows there's, like, a no return calls sticker on it. Which is like a subtle little giveaway. They live on the fucking house they're on is like Paper Street, which is kind of like some default, like, this place doesn't exist address. There's a lot of, like, little tiny things like that throughout the movie, which I enjoy. Oh, and another big one too is actually with the car scene, which I think the car scene was cool, where he's fucking like taking the wheel of his own life and he has to think about it really live in the moment or else he'll die. When they crash, Tyler gets out of the car on the passenger side, and he's, like, totally fine and nobody really pays attention to him. But they fucking drag the main character out of the driver's seat. So obviously, he's the one that was driving the car and crashed, and, you could figure it out from that too, but it's kind of hard to tell in the moment.
I mean, to be completely fair, without any contextual clues, my brain was, like, when he met him on the plane, my brain was like, this guy isn't real, there's no way this guy's real, this is a figment of his imagination that he made up to, like, cope with his reality. And then I never revisited that thought again, but then when you got the call back on the telephone booth, I was like, those calls, like, those booths aren't supposed to receive calls, so, and I, for some reason, completely threw that idea out the window, and I forgot that.
Like, it's just a movie, whatever.
I guess in the back of my mind, I was like, I also thought Marla was fake too, so don't get me wrong. But I guess in the back of my mind, when it was revealed that Tyler was just a being of his subconscious, I wasn't super shocked about it, I guess you could say. But I think it was played very well throughout the movie, so even though I knew it, I thought it was still very well executed.
Yeah, I mean, like, as far as, like, you think of that, like, oh, like, Marla's also fake, that does kind of lead to some sort of ideas of, like, well, like, how much of what is going on here is actually real, Like, I know there's also a scene where he's, like, walking to the bar when he's trying to find Tyler. As he's walking by the bar, like, there isn't a bartender there, but then, like, the bartender just, like, appears, and he's like, oh, hey, you're looking for Tyler or whatever. Like, is that just, like, some weird continuity thing, or is it sort of, like, leading to the idea that, like, oh, maybe not a lot of this is actually happening right now? Who's to say? Like, yeah. It's tough,
that's
man.
That's why the CGI explosions on those credit card buildings look so bad. It's all a dream.
Yeah, it's not real.
That was intentional.
Yeah, I guess I'm about tapped out on my information for Fight Club here. Do we have any final thoughts on this film?
No, sir. Go watch it. Required watching for men.
Yeah. Yeah, very scary just how applicable all this shit still is today. Perhaps even more so, definitely more so than it was back then, I think.
Yeah, it is shockingly irrelevant.
Yeah. Very terrifying.
I don't know what I think of the last 25 years, consumerism has actually decreased.
Yeah, all these dating apps and stuff, they can only be good for a man's psyche, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I'll kick off our ratings here. I really liked this film, guys. I thought Fight Club was real solid. Call me a stereotypical guy, but I'm going to give this one an S tier. Dylan, how about you, dude? Which of your two rankings are you going for?
I have 4 rankings now.
4 rankings now? What do you mean?
What does that even mean?
Yeah, what the fuck does that even mean?
These are all the rankings I've, come to a conclusion of at some point in time.
Clearly there are no conclusions being drawn if you have 4 of them.
They're not that far apart.
Which one are you going with?
I don't know.
What are you...
I'm looking over my list again. Somebody else go.
Okay. I also gave it an S.
There we go. All right, Dylan, has that inspired you?
Inspired, no. Had enough time, also no.
How
Jackson,
much
what
time
are you
does it
giving
possibly
this one?
take? You had the entire discussion. We've been talking about this shit forever.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the conversation at hand, not where I was ranking the movie.
Yeah, he's comparing it to where he's ranked other stuff right now.
Yeah.
He's currently idling around a B, and he's considering if that's too bold or not.
I can't do that to No Country Old Men and Fight Club.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, you're just, okay, we're just waiting for me. Okay.
I want to pick us back up if you let us down.
I mean, if you didn't like it that much, you didn't like it that much.
I did like it. I'm trying to figure out which of the two I'm going to try to put. Damn. Let's go with... Fuck. S tier. Yeah, S tier.
Buddy, you sound so convinced.
Out of curiosity, what were the three other rankings you were considering?
Let's. I'll go into this after we end the recording. This is gonna be real.
He doesn't want on the
guys.
He doesn't want us flaming him on the
No.
podcast.
It's gonna be funny. You guys are gonna think I'm fucking insane. Anyway, go.
Well, if it's
on,
funny,
Jackson.
shouldn't it be on the podcast?
No, because I'm already an idiot enough on this podcast. I'm not nearly as dumb as I seem on the podcast. Go on,
All right, Jackson, what are they? Round us out here.
Oh yeah, I definitely like this movie a lot more than you guys, as you could probably tell because I was fucking defending every single criticism you guys brought up. I give this movie an S+. I think this movie's fucking sick. I want to watch it. I already want to watch it again just because it's one of those movies where just because of that reveal, I want to go back and see if I can catch stuff and just appreciate it more. It has a ton of depth to it. You guys had your theory about what the movie's trying to imply, a lot of it with masculinity, but there's a ton more different observations you can make about it and different metaphors you can draw with stuff. You could go with a completely different route of this is all just he's just really fucking lonely, and he finally meets somebody that he kind of sees a connection with, but he can't really make it work, that being Marla. And he kind of just goes insane with that, with a kind of fucked up relationship. And then, he finally gets rid of that when he kind of accepts who he is and works it out with her. And that's why, fucking Tyler kind of goes away. Obviously, that's a pretty crackpot theory, but I'm just trying to imply that there's a lot of different angles you could look at with this movie. And I fucking love movies like that, movies that are real thinkers, Plenty of different people can look at it and get completely different endings for it, which I appreciate a lot. And of course, it's also very well shot and just a really well-made movie altogether. Outside, the timepiece things like the bad CGI, but what the fuck can you do about that?
Considering that Jackson has now given an S+ to Fight Club and Joker, we need to make him
the ideal man.
we need to make him watch Scarface now.
There we go.
He'll fucking love that shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it landed at an S overall, unsurprisingly.
Obviously.
Yeah. Well, speaking of S-tier movies, boys, what are we going to be watching this week or next week? Whatever, however the fuck you want to phrase it. Fuck you.
Jackson?
Do you have a movie picked out? I'm assuming not because you're asking me that.
Oh shit, this is gonna be an awful movie. The movie Flicka.
That's the fucking horse movie, isn't it?
It sure is, buddy.
Why do you have that on there?
This is a movie I've watched. This list is a culmination of every movie I've heard of, watched, or want to watch.
You should just make it ones you want to watch.
Too bad, buddy. We're in the making of watching every movie in existence, so fucking deal with it, I guess.
Jesus, alright. Jackson, please pick a good one.
Ooh, The Fight Club was also on my list. Let's get that out of here.
There we go. I'm going to pick one that's really out there, I guess. This one's been on my list for a long ass time. I'm going to pick the 2002 film 8 Mile.
Okay.
Ooh, that's the Eminem movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
I think I might also have that one on my list. Oh, no, I think of Green Mile, never mind.
Yeah, I don't really know a ton about this film. I don't know what the fuck this is even on my list, to be completely honest, but, here we go.
Very surprising Jackson would choose that one, considering it's a musical.
Oh, shit.
I'm assuming Tanichi requested it.
I don't think he likes Eminem.
Why? Because he's black?
Yes.
I'm just kidding. Tanichi loves Eminem. I don't think he was the one that put that in my mind, though. I used to like Eminem back in the day.
I
but
still
I don't
like
know if that's
Eminem.
why. I haven't listened to him in a long time. I think the only song I listen to is Rap God at this point. That's basically it.
Do you think our
bitch.
Patreon member who's about to get their movie pulled also likes Eminem?
Probably.
Yeah, Mr. T, I think he loves Eminem because his movie, the 2014 film, The Raid 2 got picked.
Yes! What the fuck? Oh, I forgot that movie had a sequel. Let's go, though. I hope this is as good as the first one. That would be very disappointing if it wasn't.
How fucking long has it been?
It's been a hot... It's been probably close to a year. No, not close to a year. I'm
since
making
this
that shit
movie
up.
was since this movie was requested?
No, since we saw the first one.
That can't be right.
We watched the first one in episode 145.
Oh, damn,
so
yeah, October 1st of 2023, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
it
been
has.
like-
Jesus.
Oh my
It's
god.
been 11 months.
Oh my god.
It's been half a year since this movie got put in the fucking queue. This is the first movie we've gotten from you in a long ass time, I feel like, Tanner.
That's,
Tanner's
just,
Mr. T!
What?
No freaking way! Yeah, the last one we got
What?
from you was Sound of Freedom.
That was a hot second ago.
Yeah,
damn.
you're not lucky with your...
Every bot you design loves fucking me over. Have you noticed this? The
Dude,
slime
consider
bot
getting
fucks
better
me over.
RNG. I'll make it so that whenever you fucking roll the command, I'll just give all your moves a +1.
There you go.
Yeah. And if you too would like your Patreon pick, I'm gonna restart that. And if you too would like to request a movie for us to watch, then you can do so by subscribing to the Patreon, which Tanner's gonna tell you all about how you can do that.
That's right. If you head over onto, if you go to Patreon and patreon.com/Guapish, and for only $1 a month you can subscribe to it. And when you subscribe, you get early access to every episode. You get exclusive access to our pre-Guap show, like the one we record today, where Nico reveals that he came in his sister's cereal once. And you also get access to the Discord, where you can talk to us. You can request topics. You can request movies, just like Mr. T did, and you get your name read out at the end of every episode, just like I'm doing right now. Thank you very much to... Holy shit, why is the resolution so low on this? GH, Slayed by J, Blake, Neda Gant, Dumb Gay Retard, Top Ramen Man, Joshua Bean, Lollypan Opticon, Tutbot, Lucas Ledette, Hunter, and Jacob Edwards. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, each and every one of you. We hope you have a very Eminem-filled day. Bye-bye.
Bye.